I'm back, bitches!
Hey guys, I'm back, and happy first day of Groomer Month, I think. But I'm back from vacation and finally at my main setup after like almost 6 months of my channel pretty much dying. Well, I mean, my channel is already dead because no one sits through any of my live streams because I'm an unfunny fuck. But anyway, just to get all the positive things out of the way first, if you guys follow me on Twitter, I hit 3K accounts blocking me and counting. Trying to get to 4K if you guys can already tell. Super proud of myself, even though it's super easy pissing people off on Twitter for doing absolutely fucking nothing. And more importantly, I hit 100 subs on YouTube, which is definitely no doubt because of the last Vtuber Discourse video I made that was about Nuxtaku. And oh hey, the video's almost at 5K views, how about that? I'll probably make a short little video thanking you guys after this Discourse video on a much more positive note. But speaking of Discourse, there's been a lot of shit that happened while I was gone from my computer, basically enjoying the grass outside. Oh yeah, and spending time with my family. But you know, sniffing the grass is a hell of a lot better than doing anything according to the internet. That never lies to me. But seriously, what all happened while I was gone? Well, I guess the biggest thing a few months ago were people getting harassed for playing Hogwarts Legacy, resulting in Silvervale crying on livestream and Pikami graduating only to become part of VHojo. And just as a quick side note, gonna be streaming Hogwarts Legacy because this whole controversy solidified the fact that I hate trans people. Be sure to look forward to that. The chick that I commissioned lolly porn of got outed as being exploitive towards her child, which isn't really surprising considering her track record of being an auntie. And more recently, Vebe pissed off a bunch of they-them weirdos on Twitter because she said retard during her indie re-debut. And you wanna know what? Good for her! As much as I don't like Vebe for being a total skank, along with the rest of the diet porn stars of the VTubing community, I gotta give props to her for not apologizing to a bunch of miserable people that are probably going to lynch themselves in only a couple months' time. Unlike, you know, some people I know, which truth be told, it really wasn't Mari's fault for apologizing when she really didn't need to. I'm pretty sure she just got overwhelmed by complete retards giving her shit and calling her racist regardless of the context. Keyword here. Context. You know, shit like, how did Mari say the N-word? Did she direct it to someone? What was she doing when she said it? Was it just a retarded slip-up like most people who say the N-word are? These are the type of questions that, for some reason, drives Twitter up a wall every time someone does a no-no thing. I don't understand the thought process behind this, but every time someone does pretty much anything, and yes, I mean anything, in the almighty cancel rejects of Twitter, it's automatically assumed that you're an extremely hateful person no matter what you even fucking did. Oh hey Mari, just to let you know, you're a complete outcast now and we consider you a racist Klans member even though you just said the N-word by complete accident. Either apologize or completely remove yourself from the internet and pull a Jenna Marbles even though you did nothing wrong and even though we aren't going to accept either decisions you do. Now face the wall and prepare to get executed. Wait, what? What's happening? Now, I'm not saying that genuine racism in the VTuber community just doesn't happen, but fuck me, guys. People, especially VTweeters in the VTubing community, sure love making mountains out of molehills for completely benign and non-issues, making it seem like shit is worse than it actually is. Saying shit like, it's so hard being a VTuber, why can't big VTubers make small ones suckle on their titties for some recognition, why is there so much lolicon pedophilia in the community despite the biggest giants being huge lolicons themselves, which honestly really isn't surprising considering how this is Twitter we're talking about, and if you guys can already guess, leads us into today's VTuber Discourse video. This time, a black fellow made a video about why being black in the VTubing community fucking sucks, hence the title. Which, I don't know what he's talking about because, it's fucking awesome being black in my eyes because I can pretty much get away with anything with zero backlash, and anyone that criticizes me are fucking racist. Well, you know, except for the fact that I can't make fun of other minorities and gay people because I'm not making fun of the right people. But seriously, I really don't know where he's coming from because when it comes down to racism, and I mean genuine racism, like no joke, the guy in question is a 100% white supremacist that genuinely hates black people, not shit like my feelings got hurt because some chick over the internet made an edgy joke and I got offended because I didn't find the joke funny. It's kind of hard to tell if whether or not someone is joking, especially over the internet, because typically when someone says dumb racist shit, it's usually just to rile people up, which is very, very, very easy to do. I mean, Jesus Christ, have you guys seen my Twitter account? And even if someone is accused of being a genuine racist, that would require proof. And before people start giving me a laundry list of bullshit, just because you didn't find a joke funny doesn't mean that person is a racist. A shitty comedian, sure, but joking about racism or making fun of a stereotype is not racism. It's called making a joke. And you know what? I'm probably biting off a little bit more of what I can chew here, but that's like 90% of the video in question. And don't get me wrong, there are things in that video that I do agree with. The video was definitely better than the Vibe VT echo chamber that I made a discourse video on. but not by much, because the video still implies that being black in the VTubing community is like getting lynched in the 60s, when if you sit down and look at the shit rationally and research the racism he showed, it comes off as black people being sensitive to being called mean words online, and using those few examples from trolls at face value, and claim that when it comes down to race, the entire VTubing community, well, the edgier portions of it, is hateful and racist towards black people. It's not the whole video, but large portions of it. Even the point about blackwashing characters in anime as a genuine viewpoint for representation comes up in this video, which you guys probably already know my stance on with that double standard bullshit if you guys watch this video, unlike some people. And speaking of which, I'm not going to do the usual thing I do, which is react to the whole video in its entirety, because I want this video to be close to 20 or even around 15 minutes long, because the guy that made this video in question, Toledo, either has a very small attention span or has an IQ squarely around room temperature. And I'll explain why later into the video. And shit, I should probably get into that now. I guess I should start with what I agree on first, like for instance how it's hard for black VTubers to try and get black VTubing models, which is true. It is hard getting black VTuber models. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say black, but more or less trying to get a darker skin tone model. And there's a very simple explanation for this. Since the majority of VTubers have a lighter skin complexion, it would make sense that not a lot of people would draw black people or darker skin characters. Just because someone doesn't draw a lot of black models, or by extension black characters, doesn't mean that they're racist or anything. It's just a little bit more rare for VTuber artists, well, mostly Asian artists, I should say, to get commissioned for a black character and or an OC, because black people make up a big minority in some places. Not saying that they won't or can't, because I've seen plenty of artists draw darker skinned characters like Karen from Blue Archive, Marina from Splatoon, or Nessa from Pokemon. Or, you know, your whitewashing said characters I've mentioned to fuck with people trying to prove a point, but I'll get into the hypocrisy of blackwashing later. But kind of similar to that, telling people to make a character X to get more followers is pretty messed up, because why change a character's race when you originally envisioned that character or your OC to be that skin color, especially when people typically tend to draw what they know. White people will draw white people, Asians will draw Asians despite what they look like, and black people will of course draw black people. Now obviously people aren't relegated to just drawing their own skin color, because that would be racist in of itself, but when it comes to making characters, and I should say making original characters, no one should ever listen to internet trolls about changing a race of your OC because X race is just better, because one, they're fucking trolls, and two, as I said before with it being completely racist to being only able to draw your skin color, anyone can make an OC about anybody no matter your IRL skin color or your gender or anything else. If people believe the opposite of what I said, then you can kiss creativity among artists and being inspired from other cultures goodbye, because the world would be a very, very, very boring place if that was the case. But okay, making any type of character with a different skin tone than yours is good and all, but what about cosplaying as characters, or more specifically your favorite characters from other media that aren't your race, which is also something brought up in this video? Well, same thing as before, anyone can cosplay as anyone, especially considering how this is real life and you can't change your skin color no matter how much beauty chemicals you put on your face. I really don't have an issue with people cosplaying as characters with a different skin tone, because cosplaying is meant to be fun and something anyone can enjoy. No amount of racism from trolls online should stop someone from cosplaying as a different skin tone. Or, I guess if someone does darken or lighten their skin color with beauty chemicals for cosplay, well, the majority of people shouldn't have a problem with it, because the cosplayer's intentions was never meant to be considered racist, and also because you're trying to make an accurate portrayal of the character you're cosplaying as, which is what cosplay is. All of the points that I brought up, whether it be making a character, cosplaying, or something I didn't bring up like voice acting, all kind of mesh together into a common theme, that everyone can do anything regarding art just as long as it isn't racist, of course. But when someone is making fun of you for being a different skin color, who cares? Make fun of them, block them, do everything in your power to not respond, or feed them, because that's exactly what trolls want. They want to rile you up, they want a reaction out of you. And don't ever get sad when you're targeted too. As long as you're having fun with what I mentioned before, then who cares on what a bunch of trolls have to say about you? As long as you're happy doing what you love, that's what matters most at the end of the day, right? But okay, now that I got the couple of things that I agree with out of the way, now for the 90% of the other schlock that's fucking retarded. So first things first, in the beginning of the video, he goes on about how he's so proud of being black, calling out the racism in the VTubing community.
Oh no, the latest complaint about woke SJW nonsense. I don't care, I'm black, y'all. It's my month. Just pretend you're watching this in February.
Oh, but you know, when I call out the racism amongst the black community and make a couple of off-color jokes here and there, I'm considered a pick-me and at worst, a coon. Yeah, calling out black people, calling white people male monkeys and snow roaches and saying racist shit back to them? Yeah, that's not gonna fly around here, buddy. So I'm gonna call you racial slurs and say that you hate your own race for pointing out black people's hypocrisy and playing by their own rules, never mind the fact that some of you actually love being called racial slurs.
An artist drew the little girl from Spy X Family as night-skinned, but if you're really that mad about a character being night-skinned, get ready then. Lil Baby is night-skinned! Mr. Celio Girl is night-skinned!
And speaking of being called slurs, not that it is one by any means, you decided to use a blurred screenshot of a black dude being called the hard R. And before I get into this, I want to point out the complete over-censoring of certain images in the video. Not only is it just inconsistent, but due to how Toledo censored the images, we just have to take his word for it that the images in question was racist, according to him. And I understand why he did this. He didn't want YouTube to take down his video because he showed a racial slur in the video regardless of the context. But dude, you could have put like I don't know, a thick line through the slur or blurred the image only slightly to give people an idea what you were talking about. But no, you decided to blur the image to the point where I don't even think you would know what to make of the images if someone showed them to you. I mean, dude, what the fuck am I supposed to make out here? What is this shit? I'm pretty sure nobody could fucking tell you what the images were about, because how are people supposed to describe a smudged screenshot? And most of the tweets in his video are either completely gone due to users being suspended, or the tweets violated the Twitter TOS and users had to remove them. So because of that, we just have to take his word for it that the images in question were racist to him. And the reason I say take his word for it is because, going back to the image I showed earlier, is that he decided to show a screenshot of this black dude Vissies, or however you say his name, getting called in his own words the hard R of VTubers. But not only that, Toledo took it upon himself to not only blur the hard R, but also censored himself saying it.
Sizzy, also known as The God, posted a clip of his twist on Twitter. Bro, imagine getting quote retweeted with someone calling you this.
Which, okay, I guess it is kind of messed up to call a completely random person over the internet the hard R, except no it isn't, because if you research what was actually said, the person in the screenshot didn't say the hard R, but he called Vissies a Negro tuber. Yeah, a Negro tuber. Seriously, dude, you're upset someone got called a Negro, a term which is actually spoken in another language, meaning black, which I'm not saying he was speaking Spanish during that tweet, obviously, but why say the hard R? People are going to think the guy got called the actual N-word. Getting called a Negro is by no means as close to being called the hard R N-word.
I don't know how, this feels like you just calling me the hard R.
I just You're not making this very easy, dude. And you wanna know what's even funnier? The guy calls himself a Negro a couple seconds after he said that!
Anyway, support this video by subscribing to the channel.
Yeah, guys, I'm gonna show some troll calling a black dude the hard R as if that's proof as to why racism in the VTubing community is such a problem, and completely negate what I just said by referring to myself as a Negro. Doesn't sound like it's a harmful and offensive word when I call myself that, does it? But when someone else who's another race calls me it? And then he goes on about how artists are scared and unwilling to make dark-skinned models, which, don't get me wrong, that's 100% true, which is why I agreed with Toledo at the beginning of this video. But at the same time, he doesn't, and even the video he recommends about this very topic by Evan go into the reason why people are scared and so unwilling to make dark models. And as a brief side note, as much as I love Evan, I don't recommend watching that video because,
it's bad enough in real life that black people already really struggle. People of color in general.
Sure it is, Evan. Sure it is. But going back to what I mentioned earlier, the reason why people are so scared and unwilling to make dark characters, and by extension dark VTubing models, is because they don't want to be labeled as a racist because they decided to use a different skin tone than the original art piece the character was from. Oh hey Japanese artist, I'm going to accuse you of whitewashing Marina and harass you and call you racist because you decided to use a different skin tone because you know a thing or two about color theory to make the artwork more appealing. Oh yeah, that is a completely normal thing to do in order for artists to deactivate their Twitter accounts. And this happens more times than people will lead you to believe. Whenever an artist makes fan art of a dark person with a lighter shade, because of the fucking lighting, they get harassed for drawing a lighter shade of brown of said character. And they either apologize or deactivate their accounts because of all the harassment they received. And it happens all the fucking time. Well, I mean, I guess you can say it's because of the racism in the anime community, but the thing about that is, the people doing all the racism and the harassment are people that are supposedly advocating for us. Just a bunch of fucking people that consist of shit artists, the anti-racism crowd, and surprise, surprise, also black people complaining. And they all go on these harassment campaigns against artists simply because of them using lighter shades of brown skin, which is actually a very easy thing to explain to these people because it also happens in the real world. But we all know they're not gonna listen to anybody. But yeah, that doesn't sound very welcoming when you try to control what other people think is a good shade of brown for fan art and belittle others and call them racist when they color something different than the original art piece the character was from, now does it? Now am I saying that whitewashing just doesn't happen? No, obviously. But all I'm saying is, don't fucking go out of your way to advocate for artists to draw more dark-skinned characters and VTubing models, and then turn around and go out of your way to vilify them when they aren't following a list of demands that need to be followed when making dark VTubing models or OCs. And get all surprised when no one wants to draw dark people just so they can avoid the majority of retards on Twitter. It's not the artist's fault for not wanting to draw dark people when most of the time they're just going to be met with harassment when they do, and then hilariously black people will then bitch and complain about not having things more available. And speaking of which, Toledo then shows a screenshot of a chick accusing some black dude that has white Cheeto Puffs in his hair, claiming that he was whining and calling artists racist for not having things more available for black people.
But yeah, people completely misrepresent his intention and assume that black people were whining and calling artists racist when they were just wanting things to be more available.
Which, okay, I'll definitely say the slime chick in the screenshot is fucking stupid for claiming that Mr. White Cheeto Puffs was calling artists racist when that's definitely not the case, like I mentioned earlier. But dude, a couple seconds later you showed this screenshot where she told Mr. Cheeto Puffs to recolor the assets himself, where you not only just focus on the second part of the tweet, you, ironically, completely misinterpreted what she meant by writing that tweet.
Well, I'm blue and I don't have assets. What awareness, equating black people to non-human skin.
No, she didn't! She fucking told him to recolor the assets himself because you guys are so keen on having more assets available for black people. Now, I don't know why she used her OC as an example when she could have just said another IRL skin color, but then again, she's fucking retarded. But dude, what's the issue of just recoloring the assets yourself? I mean, shit, black people already do this by blackwashing Asian characters in anime, so what's the issue of just taking the hue and saturation tool in Photoshop and recoloring the hands and whatnot yourself? Or, if you don't want to do the extra legwork yourself, maybe look a little harder for people that actually do make assets for darker skinned people.
But salty, you bumbling fucking idiot, there's only so many people making darker skinned models and assets. Just because some people are doing it doesn't mean that everyone is willing to go out of their way to make dark models. What if black people who don't like the art style or want to go cheaper with their models and assets? We just want things to be more available for black people. Can you please just stop being a whitewashed coon arbiter?
Okay. Well, what are you gonna do with the information you just told me, huh? Are you gonna take the red pill and go out of your way to make yourself dark models and assets for black people? Or are you gonna take the blue pill and continue to bitch and complain about how there's not enough assets for black people and just wait around for someone else to do the work for you? What is stopping you from making dark shit yourself for other black people? If you yourself want to see change, then quit your bitching, take some art tutorials, learn how to animate things in Live 2D, and make some dark OCs and models. And when more people do what I just said, more people will be more open to make dark models for black people until they're outed as a racist, as I mentioned before. Stop relying on other artists, some of which don't even speak English and are from another country that sees one black person every other year, and be the change that you want to see. It's a win-win scenario when you stop bitching and create some dark models for not only for yourself, but also other black people on the internet. And when I say dark models, right, I just don't mean black people with black OCs. I'm also talking about white people that also have black OCs, because if you only do one part of the equation like I mentioned earlier, not only would that be it would also kind of be racial segregation with extra steps almost, but I mean, you know, black people want to be by themselves this time, even though we kind of did that already. But whatever. Whatever it takes to be progressive is possible, I guess. And speaking of being progressive, Toledo then has the audacity to tell people that they're too comfortable with making jokes about black people in slavery.
Boom, handcuffed jokes around black people in slavery. Y'all too comfortable.
Well, I'm sorry that you have bad reading comprehension, dude, because they weren't exactly making jokes about slavery, but rather making an observation about people getting angry about people being in handcuffs and automatically thinking of black people for some fucking reason. Remember when I brought up the anti-racism advocates that are supposedly on our side? Well, those are the people that you have to watch out for looking at something that is by no means bad, and then immediately equating that thing to black people. And I mean genuinely, not just as a joke. And if you guys think I'm bullshitting here, well, sorry to say this, but something like this actually happened a couple of times.
Much of the recent conversation on orcs points out that characterizing a whole species in your game as ugly, warlike, and malevolent might be harmful to real-world groups regularly mischaracterized as ugly, warlike, and malevolent.
Maybe consult people of color before assuming we identify with being a monkey race and need protection from the mainstream. Well, apparently this struck a nerve with the people offended by the design, where they went off and acted 10 times more racist than anything to do with this reply or Dungeons & Dragons, like this user replying to this man with an actual racist caricature. Or this lovely individual who quote retweeted them with a slur and then proceeded to call other black people who called him out on it slurs as well.
On the subject of King Kong, there's think pieces about various ways it can be interpreted, but I don't think it's exactly controversial to suggest that a movie made in the 30s about a giant savage ape who is captured by white men, transported across the ocean in chains, and then abducts a white woman could possibly have some racial coding involved. And for the sake of my comment section, please do not try to defend the political sensitivity of a movie made in 1933. Can we just accept that the giant ape is probably racist?
Yeah, guys, every time I see someone in handcuffs, I immediately think of black people in slavery and things that happened decades ago. Don't you guys just love how progressive I am? And going back to what I mentioned about it being completely okay to have black models while not being black, Toledo then brings up a point about white people using black models as a commodity and joining servers as a black person while not being black.
Black VTubers rightfully have an issue with a non-POC using black models, claiming black as a commodity, and joining black servers as they present themselves as black while not being black.
Which, alright, telling people you're black while you're not black is fucking stupid and all, but what is it about white people using black models in any way, shape, or form bad by any means? How are they using black models as a commodity? The screenshots you showed didn't really explain that part. Because hey, are black people using white models as a commodity? No, because last time I checked, they're only using white models because like you yourself mentioned, there isn't a lot of people doing dark-skinned OCs. But why is it when white people use black models, it's defaulted to using black models as a commodity and not because they feel represented by the dark person they created? Or just wants to help out black people by showing off their black models so people can see that that specific artist that they commissioned does draw black people, or any other reason besides what I just said. Why is the reasoning always defaulted to the worst possible outcome for every white person using a black model? What is up with the fucking... And finally, getting into one of the main reasons why I'm making this video is because Toledo decided to use yours truly in a couple of instances in this video. Most notably, this image of when I made the racist fan art of Cup of Cocoa.
VTuber fans respond by making monkey edits of said black VTubers.
Which I appreciate you including me in your video, Toledo, but unfortunately you didn't include the reasoning behind why I made the racist fan art, and I'm not defending that it wasn't racist because that was the fucking point. But I mean, even if you did watch the Black Fragility VTuber Discourse video, I don't think I've actually explained why I did it up until this point, even though if you watched the goddamn video, you would probably have a good understanding of why I made it in the first place. But considering the fact that Toledo has a mentally inept understanding of black people having their cake and eating it too, and has poor reading comprehension, allow me to give him a brief TLDR of the reason why I made the racist fan art of Cup of Cocoa. Ah, shit, I keep saying Cocoa. Cup of Coon. The reason why I made the racist fan art of her is because she took it upon herself to make a bullshit, hypocritical, and downright racist twitlonger, basically telling everyone, yeah guys, people like Kenji can play as a white VTuber model because there's nothing absolutely wrong with that, but switch nothing but the races around, then it's all of a sudden a problem because of something systematic racism, which gives black people the consistent opportunity of being completely racist and have a genuine vitriolic hatred towards white people, even if it's shit that happened decades ago, and we can't let go of the past, so we need to tilt white people at every turn because our personality is what defines us as a people. It's because we're black, guys. Think of us as black people and not our personality, guys. I mean, shit, man, that is a completely progressive way of saying, give me shit because I am black, and if you don't, you are racist. But, don't worry, guys. Since we're the good guys, and anybody who disagrees with us, even other black people, is automatically painted as a racist, even when they play by our own rules. We always need to be progressive and think of black people as a whole, and not at all by their personality, even when it comes off as... But hey, say what you will about me and the fact that I made racist fan art of Cup of Coon, but you can't sit here and tell me the twitlonger she made wasn't the embodiment of black people having their cake and eating it too. Because how are you gonna sit here and tell me that white people can't have black models just because of their skin color? How's that not racist? How is it also not racist that black people can play white models but vice versa can't? Earlier I stated that you guys wanted more assets and models made for black people, so what's the issue of a white person commissioning a black model, huh? I thought you guys wanted black models and assets to be made. But if you're seriously gonna tell me that white people can't have or commission black models while the former is completely fine, well, firstly, you're racist, and secondly, considering how Evan and the rest of the black VTubers bitching and complaining about how there's no one doing black assets or models, shit's gonna continue to stay the same if black people can't allow white people to have black VTubing models or continue to complain rather than take some art courses and make some black fucking models. I'm just saying, guys, the solution is right fucking there. Stop bitching and make some black fucking models. And even if people like Evan will stop bitching and make some black models, they're still gonna call white people racist and accuse every single one of digital blackface, whatever the fuck that even means. Which leads me into the next point that Toledo brings up. He then shows an image of a VTuber recoloring their skin dark, claiming the VTuber is doing Blackface?
Blackface VTuber. Hey, god dang! Blackface VTuber!
Okay, dude, calm the fuck down for a second. First off, I don't even know why you decided to blur the mouth, considering how you showed the same exact image at the beginning of the fucking video. And secondly, you provided this image with zero context whatsoever. So in that case, how is this VTuber doing blackface? All he did was use the hue and saturation tool in Photoshop and recolored his skin dark. What's the problem with that? And before all the racist black people call me a white apologist or some racist shit like that, the definition of blackface is a form of theatrical makeup used predominantly by non-black people to portray a caricature of a black person. And I should say a racial caricature of a black person. People do blackface to make fun of black people with stereotypes, obviously. But that was used predominantly in the 50s and 60s because racism was more prevalent back then. But with that definition at hand, I want you guys to go on Google Images and type in the word blackface, okay? Alright, so now that you have an image in your head of what blackface is, how is this VTuber doing blackface? What is the image doing that makes it equivalent to the image in your head? What is the reasoning behind the image? How do you know it's not just some guy recoloring his skin dark like some people who genuinely do that? This is the problem when you provide zero context behind what you show in your video, Toledo. You censor and blur images and try to make a point, but when you show nothing but images without any type of context, you just say to everyone that is racist and just tell us that we have to accept it as it is.
Not gonna happen! No, not gonna happen!
It's the same issue I have with people having a problem with the gato community or the gal community. For those that don't know, gal is a fashion subculture that goes against the insane beauty standards in Japan, i.e. in order to be pretty, you need to have brown hair, brown eyes, pale looking skin, squinty eyes, etc. But the gal community says fuck that and takes their fashion, some of which comes from Western fashion trends, and cranks that shit up to 11 by tanning their skin, wearing fake eyelashes, and having crazy ass makeup, wearing extremely bright clothing, etc, etc. Which is actually pretty cool if you think about it, where you'd think black people would appreciate this type of fashion trend, because as xenophobic as Japan is, the gal community is trying to tell everyone that you don't need to be a standard looking Japanese person in order to be quote unquote pretty. But no, black people take offense to it and claim that Japanese people are doing blackface. Yeah. It's fucking stupid. Not exactly sure how with what I just mentioned, but I guess if you have a smooth-brained, autistically retarded surface-level understanding of it, then sure, you can pretty much accuse anyone of blackface if you're that mentally inept at any type of coherent thought. Which a lot of black people are suffering from, unfortunately. But anyway, sure. Saying you're black and joining black-only servers, which is fucking segregation, by the way, is one thing. Or maybe if this guy had an afro, big red lips, a bucket of chicken, and watermelon by his side, then yeah. Sure, that would be pretty racist. But fucking recoloring your skin dark? I fail to see the issue here. Or what? Are you trying to say that every white person using a black model is doing blackface or some other dumb shit like that? Well, sorry to burst your bubble, buddy, but is Kenji doing whiteface when he's using his white model? I don't think you're understanding the problem I have here, dude. And even then, black people already do blackface when they blackwash a character in a cartoon or anime by turning their skin dark. But it's racist when a white person does it? Like, dude, do you look at everything at face value and believe everything you see when you first see it on the internet? Are you that fucking stupid? And oh, wait a minute, you guys know what? This leads me into Toledo's next point. He opens up the next part of his video by going after Fillion, and of all people, Pippa Pipkin for making fun of George Floyd.
I had a quarter for VTubers that made jokes about a black dude suffocating the cops.
That was an epic quote from George Floyd.
I have
I
too.
don't know what he's doing, right? Imagine his opening line was like, I'll take your breath away.
Okay, so I'm not gonna focus on Fillion here, despite both her and Pippa making very similar jokes towards George Floyd, although I will say that just because you didn't find a joke funny doesn't make it any less of a joke. But my problem with Toledo using Pippa as an example is not because of the joke she made, even though that's part of the equation, but the fact that he got that clip of Pippa from a Word document calling Pippa a fucking neo-Nazi. And as of making this video, he fucking removed that part. Probably because people on Twitter called him out for it, but the fact that he added it in the video in the first place means that he was trying to do something here. This is what I mean by taking things at face value, dude. You're gonna believe some Word document, most likely made by a Tumblrite, calling Pippa a fucking neo-Nazi? Are you that fucking dumb, dude? And of all VTubers, of all VTubers, you're gonna go after the one that streamed Hogwarts Legacy just so she can make fun of tranny? I mean the Twitter freaks? I gotta stop doing that. But seriously though, do you guys honestly think Pippa gives a shit about what you or what other people call her over the internet? And after all the edgy shit she says, you're gonna bring up the one time she makes fun of George Floyd? Seriously? And you guys remember how at the very beginning of this video I brought up questions that Twitter can't answer when it came down to Mari accidentally saying the N-word? Yeah, Toledo also brings her up around this part of the video for some fucking reason and claims that she's racist because, I guess because she just said the N-word and nothing else. And I just want to remind everyone, she only said it accidentally once!
Sorry, not based enough for you? How about VTuber says the hard R while freestyling?
Oh, violin. He's got a lot of stick. That sounded bad.
God, Jesus fucking Christ, dude, are you that fucking dense? Saying the N-word and just completely refusing to believe any type of justifications like singing it in a rap song or reading it in Huckleberry Finn doesn't make you racist. It just makes you being an overly sensitive pansy that can't dare to hear it in any other context because apparently anybody who says the N-word regardless of the context makes you racist. Sorry, everybody that got tricked into saying it. You're racist even though you probably weren't even paying attention to the donation you got. You just gotta be better and more aware of your surroundings because little sheltered Tyrone is gonna rob the nearest convenience store if you do. Oh, but don't worry. Tyrone can say it and even at other black people when they try to stop him from robbing the store. But, you know, white people can't say it because... And finally, getting into the part of the video where Toledo brings my ass up again. He first shows images of some of my Vtuber Discourse videos saying that I was railing on black VTubers, which he's sort of right, I guess. But I'm gonna take a wild fat guess and say that Toledo watched absolutely fuck all of any of my videos that he mentioned. Especially this one, where the person I'm only making fun of was Cup of Kyun because she went on a fucking unhinged Twitter tirade where she mentioned me for some fucking reason. And just to bring this up since I'm talking about her again, after the video I made about her Twitter tirade I mentioned that she did, she then comes to me and talks like a normal person, which is something I couldn't really believe after all the unhinged shit she decided to say on her Twitter account. But get this shit right, around the end of the conversation, she said that she wanted to apologize to me because of the gatekeeping black VTuber stuff, and also said that I was right. You heard that shit correctly. The VTuber that I made racist fan art of apologized to me for the hypocritical black VTuber bullshit she decided to make and spew. Take that, you stupid fucking racist dipshits. How do you like that shit, huh? How about you fucking kill yourselves? All of you fucking do it, you fucking racist pieces of shit. Okay. Let's not get this video taken down. Let's try to get back on track. Alright, so you guys want to know why I think Toledo never watched any of the videos that he mentioned of me, and also why I say he's sort of right when he said I was railing on black VTubers? Well, it's because going back to my video I've made defending Mari, it's that there are numerous tweets in that video I showed that weren't just black people, and even at that point, you would know that I wasn't just talking about black people being upset at her if you, I don't know, paid attention to the fucking thumbnail! And even if you actually sat down and watched the fucking video, you would know that I wasn't just making fun of black people. I was making fun of gay people. I was making fun of trannies. I was making fun of every overly sensitive retard that came out of the woodworks that decided to call Mari out. All of the dyke uwu anime girls and black people came out of nowhere just to push Mari into a corner where she couldn't even do anything but to apologize. And I don't even know why she did, because Toledo, you didn't even accept the apology all because she liked a couple of tweets and made a self-deprecating joke?
I've analyzed this clip more times than I can count. How does the hard R come out accidentally from violin?
I'm racist.
Never mind, understandable, have a nice day.
Dude, you are exactly the type of person I'm making fun of in that video! I'm actually almost glad the Aqua Chick or whatever the fuck her name was earlier in Toledo's video didn't apologize for saying the hard R N-word, because the fuckheads like Toledo will never be pleased no matter what you even do. Apologizing does absolutely fucking nothing on the internet, because these overly righteous Twitter Puritans will just keep vilifying you like you didn't even do anything in the first place. It happens all the fucking time. Just take a look at the situation with Syber with Hogwarts Legacy, Bebe when she said retard, and even this fucking incident with Mari. Trying to appease these uwu would never hurt a fly sheltered vocal minority of mentally retarded children in adult bodies will never be happy with you. And even then, as soon as someone they know close to them does something that's not even really considered bad, they'll just kick them to the curb to clout chase. This shit even happened to Mari. If your quote unquote friends do this shit, fuck them. They were never your friends to begin with, considering how they'll always be mad by dumb retarded shit like saying the N-word regardless of the context. And since we're talking about context here, I showed a lot of different people in my Mari video that said the N-word. One chick got tricked into saying it, some fat chick was singing it in a rap song, and I also showed PewDiePie saying it, but that's a little bit more worse, I'll admit, although I would argue that he would have probably said that regardless of the guy's race. But fucking Toledo here brings up Takanashi Kuro saying the N-word at the beginning of his video, but without context.
Black people, y'all need a reason to be mad because life's too good for y'all.
My Nick got a lot of stick.
Are you seriously trying to tell me that everyone I showed in that video that said the N-word is racist? Are you fucking stupid, dude? Do you lack the mental understanding of the word context? If you're seriously gonna tell me that no one can say the N-word regardless of context, like reading it in a book, quoting someone, singing it in a rap song, or any other scenario, then you're a hypocritical racist that wouldn't dare to hear it from any other race. But hearing it from black people and black people only is completely fine, even when they're using it to insult other black people.
But salty fucking white apologists, white people aren't oppressed, therefore they can't say any type of slurs to other races, but we can call them snow roaches and male monkeys because since they aren't oppressed, that gives us full justification to be completely racist to them.
Yeah, buddy, sure, go ahead and do that. You're so progressive for being racist towards white people, which totally doesn't sound like to me. No, not ever. No, it doesn't. And you guys want to know what? This isn't even the worst part of the video. No, the worst part is when Toledo showed this tuber dog fucker thing a couple of times in his video, in which the dog fucker commented his disdain for Mari saying the N-word, where I noticed he was also the same person I made fun of in my Mari video for being every progressive thing under the goddamn sun. And continuing my hypothesis, which is pretty much confirmed true at this point, of Toledo not watching any of my goddamn videos, later in my Mari video is that I showed the same exact person around the end of the video where he tweeted to some random Twitter user, I shit you not, a yellow-faced retard, and called him an Asian wannabe. And if you guys think I'm faking this, no! Go search the shit up yourself! The tweet is still fucking there! How can this fucking guy go out of his way to call someone out for saying the N-word on accident and accuse them of being racist and completely negate what they said by being racist to some random Twitter user that's probably not even Asian?
But salty racist fucking idiot, that guy was probably joking about calling somebody yellow-faced retard because he's also Asian. That would mean he was also be calling himself yellow. He would probably being racist to someone back to him. Just because he said that doesn't make him racist, you stupid fucking coon.
Okay. Well, first off, we don't even know if the person the dog fucker was replying to was even Asian due to most of the context behind the tweets being gone, and after this video, I wouldn't be surprised if the dog fucker deleted the yellow-faced retard tweet, especially because, you know, it makes him a huge fucking hypocrite going after Mari of all people. And for the first part, I did the same fucking thing! What is so different about these two tweets that's considered joking when he does it, but when I make a racist joke towards black people or make racist fan art, it's considered self-hatred? Because, hey, according to Toledo, it doesn't matter the context you say it in, it still makes you racist. I mean, shit, man, I didn't find the tweet funny. I didn't laugh at all when I found this tweet. Where's the fucking joke, dog fucker? Is he being racist towards himself and other Asians, or isn't he because since he's black, he can just be racist to everyone else except for himself or some weird mental gymnastics type bullshit? And notice how I'm using the same arguments that people called me out for when I made the racist fan art of Cup of Kuhn? Because what's the difference? I failed to see the thought pattern in thinking these two tweets are any different from each other. And oh, hey, Toledo, remember that Mike Tyson quote you brought up a couple seconds earlier?
Mike Tyson was right. Social media made y'all way too comfortable with disrespecting people and not getting puns for it.
Is this dog fucker exempt from the quote because he's black? Because you obviously agree with him going after Mari for saying the N-word once on accident. But you wanna know what? I'm not gonna fault you for including him in your video because you probably didn't even know this tweet even existed. But considering all the shit I talked about up until this point of the video, I wouldn't be surprised if you defended him for calling someone a yellow-faced retard because, you know. And oh, before I continue, I just wanted to show you guys something I found extremely funny while editing this part of the video. Remember when Toledo brought up the one VTuber that did blackface and proceeded to go into the other degenerate shit regarding them? Well, one of the sources Toledo used was from a VtuberBlacklist Twitter account, where, I shit you not, the dog fucker that was in both of our videos is on the same VtuberBlacklist Toledo used for fucking stalking and harassment and shit. Like, what the f- How the fuck did you miss this shit? But, anyway, moving on. After Toledo showed the images of my videos, which I will reiterate he never watched, he brought up the monkey edit of Cup of Kuhn again, but this time uncensored, ooh. And then after that, he then showed an image I posted that was of a whitewashed George Floyd. Which, yeah, you're goddamn right I'm gonna whitewash George Floyd. As a matter of fact, I'll do it to that Jordan Neely fucker too. Do you honestly think I'm going to give my respect to someone that was a drug-addicted criminal that spent most of his time in jail, pointed a gun at a pregnant woman's stomach for crack, said that he couldn't breathe well before anyone had a knee on his neck?
COVID, man. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
And despite all of that, he was still made into a martyr by a corporation that's hilariously going bankrupt and further dividing us as a people. Yeah, sure, buddy. Not in a million years. fuck George Floyd, and fuck BLM. And dude, I don't even know why you even care so much about this druggie anyway, because he's fucking dead! Oh, but wait a minute, I forgot you can't criticize BLM or any of the riots that they induced and the criminals they made into martyrs for no reason whatsoever, because that would make you racist. Sorry, I don't make the rules, even though there are plenty of cases of black people using BLM to beat the ever-living shit out of white people, but I mean, whatever. That guy holding groceries getting kicked in the face while some black thug said BLM, well, water under the bridge. These groups of black people beating the shit out of two white people, one of which was just a bystander walking by, you guys just don't get it. These examples I showed were clearly white people showing off their internalized racism. Just them walking by black people is racist. So obviously white people are the very obvious aggressor here, so it would make complete sense for black people to talk shit about them and everyone else but themselves because they are the most oppressed, which means they can get away with anything, even towards other races. Don't you guys just love how progressive we are becoming as a society? And you guys know what? I wouldn't be surprised if someone actually said the shit I just made up. But okay, now that that's out of the way, time for the real meat of when Toledo brought my ass up again.
Look, I try to be open. Hell, I'm even open to the non-black model topic for debate. Bro, he's just a leafy wannabe that hates his own race.
Oh, why yes, Toledo. That makes complete and total sense. If you make a racist joke, then you just hate your own race and an entire group of people. Never mind the fact that I make fun of myself because I think it would just be a little bit wrong to make fun of everyone else around me besides myself, and also because I find it extremely hypocritical amongst black people and other minorities to go out of their way to be viciously racist against white people for absolutely fucking nothing. But forget that! I like making fun of black people because apparently I'm the next Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. Yeah, that's not a completely insane and overly vapid claim to vilify anyone that disagrees with you or try to say that they're trying to act white for some reason. But hey, black people are a protected group that no one can make fun of, especially towards themselves or even ones that criticize them because of something systematic racism and privilege or some other dumb shit that I wouldn't be surprised if some terminally online Twitter user actually said what I just made up. And I also love how you decided to say that and provided zero context or proof about how I hate my own race. But oh, wait a minute, you haven't watched any of my videos about black people having their cake and eating it too, so you have to bullshit and lie and overly simplify my videos to make me look like I'm the worst person imaginable. But you made the spinner. So, what about the dog fucker that called some random dude a yellow-faced retard? He's also Asian, so does he hate his own race for calling someone yellow? Or better yet, what about the black people that praise Cup of Coons twit longer while telling everyone that, hey, if you don't fit this very specific criteria of a black person, then you can't portray yourself as black? That sounds a hell of a lot more racist than anything I'll ever fucking say. Like, dude, you could have at least showed like a small clip to make it look like you watched my videos, but again, like before, you tell people shit and just expect them to believe you just as long as they're fucking stupid enough to believe everything you have to say and won't go out of their way to research said topic to make their own opinions. And truth be told, I'll admit my videos are long, boring, and monotonous, but at least I'm showing you guys what was said from the horse's mouth rather than giving you guys the biased, overly simplified, and borderline racist version of the video or the live stream. And you guys know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Toledo just watched the Vibe VT live stream and just ran with that. That would actually put a lot of things into perspective. But whatever. Go ahead and call me a leafy wannabe, because I guess you can call anyone making an edgy joke a leafy wannabe. But saying I hate my own race is fucking retarded, because if making a racist joke towards your skin color equals hating your own race, then you're gonna have to apply that type of logic to everyone making a racist joke, even for people you think are funny and you agree with. Because only applying it to some people and only ones you don't like isn't how the real world works, buddy. And then Toledo goes on about how ignoring shit on the internet is bad?
Serious time though. There's a lot of underhanded racism in this sphere, and the worst part is us fellas just gotta deal with it. Just ignore it. The internet's the internet. No one's forcing them or holding them at gunpoint.
Dude, just like... Why the fuck did you even say that? Dealing with shit on the internet is literally something that everyone has to deal with. You, me, and guess what? Also white people. We all have to deal with trolls and hate comments and any other shit that's gonna make people hate you, which can be anything. The only thing you can do is ignore it, otherwise shit like this video is gonna get made. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if there are more trolls out there making fun of black people because of this video, because they now know what triggers you. And not only that, but you're also making it seem like black people are the only people getting made fun of on the internet, which is simply untrue. It's disingenuous. Getting made fun of on the internet happens to everybody. It happens to white people. It happens to Asians. It also happens to gay people, usually because they're trying to justify grooming or some other shit, but still. Just because you have this fucking tunnel vision of it only happening to black people is closed-minded and downright stupid, because again, the dog fucker made fun of Asian people calling them yellow, so even if you genuinely think it's only happening to black people, this fucking guy contradicted your whole damn thought process. And holding them accountable? Dude, do you seriously think a bunch of anonymous trolls give a shit about being held accountable over the internet Are you that fucking dense? But okay, you're talking in the context of VTubers, which is a little different, but even at that point, the people you brought up in this video are either trolls, people making a joke, or saying the N-word on accident, the last two of which aren't even being racist. You just don't like it when people say things that you don't like, but are completely fine when other black people say it and make racist jokes towards other races. And yes, I'm going to keep bringing this dog fucker up because it's so fucking hypocritical that I can't wait to hear the bullshit Toledo's going to come up with if he decides to defend him. But even with the case of the dog fucker, right? Being called names and people being mean to you over the internet is an inevitability that everyone has to deal with. If you seriously can't handle people being mean to you and saying mean words to you, and I wouldn't even say mean, like just words regardless of the context, well, firstly,
Close your laptop!
and secondly, you're a self-centered, closed-minded, overly sensitive racist. And speaking of being racist, up until this point, I've made it very clear that there are things in Toledo's video that I just don't like one bit. But this next part, though, this shit takes the whole fucking cake.
Honestly, if you ain't in POC and you're making a joke about race, just make the joke bang or actually funny. Some of y'all just try way too hard on being edgy.
Dude, did you actually think what you just said was good? Did you actually hear yourself when you said that? If you're not a POC making a joke about race, make the joke funny. Okay, firstly, can you please stop saying non-POC? You're fucking talking about white people. Can you please stop giving labels to shit where the majority of the world doesn't know what the fuck you're talking about? Okay? You're talking about white people. Secondly, why did you say not a POC making a joke about race? Why does it only have to be white people? Why did you specifically have to say them? I mean, what? Are you trying to say that only minorities, and particularly black people, can only make fun of other races? More specifically to white people? I honestly don't know why you had to say that, man. Because that sounds pretty fucking racist if you ask me. Thirdly, why did you say make it actually funny? Like, what do you even mean by that? How does someone just make something funny out of thin air? Because this is 2023, dude. You can show a group of people a grainy-ass image of a fucking letter, and that shit's gonna get them laughing for at least a week. Comedy is subjective. Just because you didn't find a joke funny doesn't make the joke any less of a joke, but you are well within your duty to call a joke unfunny, like the shit I did with Nux in that VTuber Discourse video. But to go out of your way to vilify someone for making a joke that wasn't funny, that didn't really land well, or any other reason for that matter, is stupid, because I'm pretty sure there are people that you find funny and some other people don't. But just because this comedian made a joke that was offensive and you found it funny, does that joke all of a sudden get a pass now because you found the joke funny? Well, sorry to tell you this, Toledo, but just because a joke is offensive and you found it funny still makes the shit they said offensive. It's either offensive or it isn't. You can't give passes to offensive and edgy humor that you like and then accuse people you don't like of racism for doing the same thing. You see, this is what I mean by black people having their cake and eating it too. When someone does a racism, or in this case, make an attempt at an edgy joke, the audience goes either of two ways. People love it and just move on with their day, or most of the time, people will accuse this person of racism. Bonus points if the person making the joke is white. But you know, black people calling white people mayo monkeys and snow roaches and saying shit like, why people so fragile, is good and all, but then black people will also turn around and pull the race card when people show them the letter N. They aren't being racist, they're just trying to point out your fucking hypocrisy. Either everyone can make a racist joke, or nobody can. Stop applying this shit to only people you don't like and people you don't find funny. And before I move on, Toledo, I don't fucking know why you decided to show this chick in this section of the video, because the person you showed is Chinese. And as far as I'm concerned, Asian is in fact a person of color. So not only do you not do your own research, you're also fucking stupid. But alright, we're finally at the last section of the video. The shit about representation. There isn't a lot of clips for me to show here, but this section is mostly just shit that I wanted to talk about. In particularly this part when Toledo says this shit.
VTubing has the appeal of playing a personification of yourself or an original character in the virtual medium. So seeing a VTuber that makes you go, she's just like me for real, makes you feel pretty good when you don't see yourself often in it.
I'm going to assume that when Toledo says they're just like me, is that he's talking about being represented by another black person in media, not just in VTubing, but also IRL. Which is a little strange because a couple seconds later, he brings up Aragami Oga and Tsukumo-sana. And the reason I think it's weird is because, one, we don't even know if they're black or even dark-skinned IRL, and two, based off of previous sections of Toledo's video, he definitely has a problem with white people playing black characters, or should I say, people playing characters that aren't their race. Well, okay, but do we know the race of Oga? Because if he's not black or dark-skinned IRL, he might be in trouble with Twitter. I'm just saying. I mean, he sounds like a normal Japanese guy. He could be a foreigner. He likes it in Japan, and there's no evidence or leaked face pics of his identity. So, I don't know. He could be black, white, yellow, like, I don't fucking know. I just know that people are probably going to accuse him of blackface if he's in dark IRL. And you guys might think it's a little weird for me to focus so much on Oga's IRL skin color here because of the fact that he may or may not be dark like his model, which I'm not sure if I conveyed that correctly. But yes, that's my point. That is exactly my point. It is weird to focus so much on his IRL skin color, because why should his skin color matter when people aren't there for his skin color? They're there because of his voice, his content, and him playing fucking video games. Why should your skin color matter when you're either playing a personification of you or an OC, especially in VTubing where you don't even know the person behind the camera? Toledo even contradicts his own point at the beginning of his own video.
The concept of VTubing is sick because the options with how you present yourself are limitless. You can be an anime elf, Shiba dog, a narwhal, a demon girl, an AI, a piece of shit. I'm not kidding. You can VTube as a piece of shit. You can represent yourself any way as a VTuber. This don't just apply to people who want to act as anime characters with different virtual personas. This also can apply to people who are hella unrepresented, such as black people.
If presenting yourself in VTubing is limitless, why the sudden caveat for white people? I'm sorry, just people playing characters that aren't their race. Why is that a problem? Because again, going back to Kenji, who by the way has like 450,000 subscribers on YouTube, is mixed IRL, but has a white VTubing model. Why are people fine with him playing a character that isn't his race, but people accuse white people of blackface when it's vice versa? What's the reason? Is it just because he's exempt for some retarded shit? Is it because his character was originally supposed to be black? I really can't find a good enough reason other than... But okay, Toledo is talking about corporate VTubing here and says that it's some sort of problem, which again doesn't really make any sense when you don't know the person behind the camera, but whatever. Toledo and other black people wants to see a black corporate VTuber, and as far as I know, it doesn't matter which agency, just wants to see a corporate VTuber that's black. Well, okay, so hypothetically speaking, let's just say this VTuber is black and joins a corporate agency, but then it turns out that when they got face docs for retarded petty drama shit on Twitter, they aren't black IRL, it's just some ethnic Japanese girl or some pasty white chick from America. What are you gonna do with that information? Are you gonna say, hey, I didn't know she was black, I'm just gonna continue enjoying her content and move on with your day? Or go on a massive Twitter tirade and accuse this chick of digital blackface. And if you guys think I'm being rash here, just take a look at previous sections of Toledo's goddamn video. Like seriously, dude, why do black characters and or OCs have to be played by other black people? And going back to Toledo's
"She just like me for real"
phrase, why does it have to be a black person in order for you to say that? Why do black people need a black person in order for them to relate to them, especially in a fictional media? Why do we have to accept that being a certain type of skin color is a fucking personality trait? Because I thought the reason why people like characters was because of their struggles, their upbringings, and their personality, not because of their skin color and their fucking skin color alone. I'm not saying that Toledo specifically says this, but there are plenty of people on Twitter that can't accept a certain type of media until they see another person that looks like them. And just to briefly talk about blackwashing anime characters here for a second, because it's kind of related. It's bad. It's fucking stupid. And if you do this, you are a narcissistic racist. You are doing absolutely nothing when you do this because the characters are already established and people are going to point out the obvious skin change. Race swapping a character for representation is lazy and it's low effort. And it just goes to show you that you're either a narcissist that can't dare to look at a character that's another skin color from yours, or you're just simply racist. And then you guys in Toledo have the fucking balls to tell everyone that blackwashing is okay, but whitewashing isn't? And oh, before I move on, I noticed that Toledo used this chick's art being whitewashed around the beginning of his video. Well, my question after this is, did the person race swap her character because he's racist, or to troll the fuck out of her because she's also the same person that made this hypocritical and downright racist Twitter thread about blackwashing being okay, but whitewashing isn't? And also calls white people colonizers, calls other black people who disagree with her trying to be whitewashed herself and said that she's going to throw up, and also thinks it's unfair and racist for people to be attached to characters that aren't their race. Let me say that part again. She thinks it is unfair for black people to attach themselves onto characters that aren't their race. Doesn't that sound familiar? And even then, when there are characters that are black, you still think it's not enough?
Maybe when the anime community got mad at black people wanting more representation, they'd be like, oh, but what about these characters? Okay, how many are caricatures of racist stereotypes? How many are one-off characters with no significance? How many are actually black?
And by the way, if I see this screenshot, this one very specific screenshot of Chocolove in a video trying to tell everyone that he's racist, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. Because people who use this very specific screenshot will then claim that Chocolove is a racist stereotype, which begs the question if Toledo, or the majority of black people for that matter, have even watched Shaman King. But I'll admit, I haven't seen Shaman King either. But spoiler warning for those who haven't seen it, the main gist I got from the Wikipedia page of Shaman King is that Chocolove is one of the main casts that has a sad backstory where his parents were killed, and then joins the main cast to fight in a Shaman King tournament. And by the end of the series, he becomes one of the strongest characters by having the most Foryoku, think of Foryoku as the power leveling system in Dragon Ball Z, among the main characters. And from even videos I watched about Shaman King, Chocolove is a fucking badass and has a very good origin story, but I don't know how true that is because someone telling you it's good doesn't make it true. But yeah, that's Chocolove for you. He doesn't sound like a racist stereotype that many people like Toledo will tell you, now does he? But you know, just completely ignore every good aspect about his character and reduce him down to his character design alone because he looks racist. Yeah, that's a very good thought process you have and doesn't sound closed-minded and completely retarded because that's a very good way for people to have very boring character designs in the future. This is the same type of sentiment that I have for people who call Mr. Popo racist because he's not even fucking human. This is why I say looks like a racist stereotype. And don't get me wrong, Chocolove's and Mr. Popo's character designs look fucking ridiculous, but to completely ignore a character's overall character and the good things about them because they look racist is really fucking stupid. Take for instance the big ass donut lips that these two characters have, because a lot of people love associating that feature with black people apparently. Well, the thing about that specific feature is that there are other characters, more popular characters, dare I say, in anime that have big ass donut lips that aren't black, but as soon as you turn the skin dark, it's racist? And Toledo, I don't even know why you decided to use this black chick from the Promised Neverland here and claim that she's racist when you literally used Yasuke a couple seconds earlier. Like, in some instances, they look almost identical here. How are you gonna claim one is racist and the other one isn't purely based on the coloration of their lips if having big lips makes the characters racist? Like, what is this shit? Like, how the fuck? And you're gonna completely ignore all of the black characters in anime and even in Western cartoons just so you can show the few examples to claim that black people don't have enough representation and show the one. Literally the one black guy you like, because I'm gonna take a wild fat fucking guess and say that the only reason you do was because he's a big black bundle of fucking sticks. Like, dude, how in the ever-living fuck can you be this disingenuous? You're ignoring each and every black character just so you can promote the constant lie saying that black people don't have enough black people, which, ironically, you just showed a group of them, and even then, you're still fucking lying! There's plenty of black characters in animated media, but I'm just going to assume you're just completely ignoring all of them just so you can tell everyone that black people need everything revolved around them, otherwise, black representation just doesn't exist, and if you say otherwise, you're racist! Well, sorry to tell you this, Toledo, but you're fucking wrong because there's Blade, Cyborg, Static Shock, War Machine, Luke Cage, Echo, Lucian and Senna, Number 5, Jax and his daughter Jackie, Spawn, Misty Knight, Storm, Falcon, pretty much anyone out of Wakanda, Eddie from Tekken, Leroy Smith who's also from Tekken, and most recently, the Miles fucking Morales? Oh, but wait a minute. You wanted representation in the Ching Chong cartoons. Okay. Canary, Afro Samurai, that black guy from Attack on Titan whose name I'm not gonna pronounce, Michiko, Dutch, Nessa, Abdul, Dorothy, and even other black people in Shaman King that don't look like Chocolove. It's almost as if you haven't even fucking seen Shaman King. I could go on and on voicing every black character in anime and cartoons, but according to Toledo with his comment, it's just simply not enough. Black people need to be the center of attention all the time. Otherwise, black representation just simply doesn't exist. And even though people like Toledo are 100% right saying that there isn't a lot of black people in anime, well, sorry to break it to all of you, but anime is created by Japanese people for Japanese people. And most of the time, anime is mostly just adaptations from original manga works, and most people who write these stories are, surprise, surprise, Japanese people. Do you seriously think the average mangaka is gonna write a story about black people when black people make up like 0.02 or 0.002% out of the entire population in Japan? Are you out of your fucking mind, dude? I'm almost glad that Japan doesn't cater more than what they do now with the international market, because shit like this happens all the time. Do you want to know why so many people are gatekeeping the shit they like nowadays? Why people get so angry when people demand representation towards foreign entities? It's because when something gets big enough, it gets more popular. But when it gets mainstream, busybodies like you, Toledo, have to change the type of media you consume in order to make it more comfortable to you. But when you cater to the vocal minority of people that never enjoyed the media to begin with, it becomes boring and oftentimes stale to the point where nobody wants to consume that type of media anymore. Just take a look at comic books, movies, gaming and anime to some extension, and even VTubing. Why are you looking for representation from corporate agencies? And I'm talking about Japanese VTuber agencies, like the ones everyone already knows about, like Hololive and Ninja Sanji. Why are you looking to them for black representation, especially when, and to reiterate, black people are almost non-existent in Japan. I seriously don't understand the concept of that type of logic. Like seriously, what the fuck is going on here? Why are you looking at another country's agency, let alone the type of media you consume from another country, and look to them for representation? Do you seriously think people like Yago or all these other old as fuck Japanese people in suits that don't even speak English behind anime studios and VTubing agencies seriously give a shit about American politics and representation when their main priorities are making as much money as possible and making sure their audience receives parasocial girlfriend experiences? And also when your skin color doesn't matter for the things I mentioned for VTubing. You can talk shit and blame Yago and the upper management of all these companies for not hiring more black people or not having more VTubing models that are dark all you want, but their main concern isn't making sure black people get proper representation, and wanting them to cater to you is fucking insane. Why not just focus on shit here in America, where black people are easier to come by, and focus on the indies rather than the corps that don't give a shit about you? You all claim that this is a problem, but you'd rather just complain about how there's no black people in agency corporations or black people in anime, rather than finding other VTuber indies here on Twitter and promoting artists that do draw black people? You guys are just gonna bitch and complain and offer no solutions? But salty, you racist fucking coon. That's the problem. There isn't anyone doing black VTuber models or drawing black characters. Okay, then make shit up. Make black characters. Go out of your way to find people that make black models, or if you can't, make shit yourself. Take some art classes and be the change that you guys want to see. Guys, the answers are right fucking there! You all supposedly know the problem, but you'd rather complain about it and say that the VTubing community isn't open for a lot of black VTubers and provide no solutions for it? You'd seriously rather go out of your way to rely on these artists, some of which are from another country, to give you black characters and representation, rather than making shit yourself? I'm not saying artists of different races can't do that. What I'm saying is, why are you expecting them to do it? What type of backwards logic is that? And you guys all call me the coon? Seriously? You all claim that you want black characters and representation, or claim that there isn't any, but you guys aren't even looking for it, let alone try to make black characters. So instead, you guys have to address the problem in the anime and the VTubing community and claim that people will be racist towards black people. I'm not saying that there aren't cases, obviously, but it's always everyone else's fault except for yourselves. It's always them goddamn dirty white people doing all the racism, to the point where we have to exclude them and strip them of every opportunity in anime. It's not racism when we do it. It's not our faults that their ancestors and because of shit over 6 decades ago were the primary factors of oppression, which makes it completely justifiable to call them racial slurs and to blackwash already existing Asian characters. They have enough representation. Never mind the fact that it's completely racist to blackwash characters and promote this victimhood mentality, claiming that black people never have enough. And when we do have representation, it's just simply not enough. Black people always have to be the center of attention because if that isn't the case, black representation clearly just doesn't exist, guys. Look at these two dark-skinned Japanese VTubers among the other hundreds of Japanese VTubers from another country where black people don't exist and claim that diversity is a problem in Japan. Claim that every person that makes an edgy joke about black people or says the N-word accidentally once is a bona fide Klans member. Yeah, guys, don't worry about me calling this random dude a yellow-faced retard. I'm the good guy, remember? Claim that every person darkening their skin color for cosplay is making fun of black people. Never mind the fact that there are cases of black people doing the same exact thing. Yeah, guys, equate tanning or darkening your skin color to making fun of black people in the 40s and the 50s. Yeah, guys, that's completely the same and doesn't make you look racist at all. Go out of your way to blackwash Asian characters in anime for representation while hypocritically saying whitewashing is bad. Yeah, guys, listen to us. We're the progressives in this scenario. Let's make sure every black person in anime and cartoons is the center of attention and represents every black person that has ever lived despite it not mattering in fictional media. And if you disagree with anything I said, you're racist. You're a disgusting person. Yeah, guys, I'm the good person here. And no matter what I say is always for black people, fuck everyone else, especially those goddamn mayo monkey clam chowder colonizing crackers. Am I right, guys? I'm so progressive that I'm gonna tell everyone that it's okay to make fun of white people and call them the worst things imaginable. But don't listen to me, guys. I'm just the whitewash coon of the planet that's apparently the next David Duke of the Ku Klux Klan, despite me making fun of everything and everyone. Yeah, guys, don't listen to me. I'm just a white apologist. Don't listen to Elsie Alucard calling black people sensitive for not liking it when white people say the N-word by complete accident. Doesn't that sound familiar? But since she doesn't agree with us, bring up the fact that she has been accused of blackface, where you're not even sure about the information you researched, and also completely disregard the fact that black people proved her point with what they told her in the quote tweets. Yeah, guys, this black chick has a different opinion than us, so let's call her a coon and an Uncle Tom because we proved her right. Agree with us and only us, guys. We only have the correct opinions all the time. Don't listen to this chick on Twitter where she has to correct people all the time about her not being black because she has opinions that don't sound like a black person would say, and when she shows post pictures of herself showing her skin color, just call her a coon. Yeah, don't you guys just hate it when black people with different opinions tell us we're being racist? Fuck them. They're not black, and even if they are, they're just a coon, guys. Don't listen to them. Don't listen to any other black person that has a different viewpoint than the black Twitter hive mind, because if they do, they aren't black. They aren't racist to white people. We're taking away their blackness. Yeah, that thing MLK and actual black activists fought for in the 60s? Yeah, fuck those guys. White people need to die and black people need to be segregated against them. We need to be with our own people because we are so fucking racist. Ugh. I just realized this part of the video was just me ranting into a microphone. Okay. Let me just calm down and just talk for a few minutes. Okay, as much as I don't like these overly righteous, hypocritical, and openly racist black people in the anime and the VTubing community, I get it, okay? I get it. You guys want to see yourselves be seen, you guys want to be loved, so you guys have to attach yourselves to these popular characters, but since they aren't your skin color, you have to go out of your way to make it more comfortable to you. Which is fine on paper, I guess, yeah, but with the shit that I covered in this video, the shit that I ranted about earlier, and the things that I've seen black people genuinely try to justify to the rest of the world, do you guys seriously think that shit is fine? That's not how this shit is supposed to work. Going out of your way to demand black characters and VTubing models and black representation to be made from other races is asinine. And when it comes to blackwashing characters, that shit is selfish and closed-minded because you're actively taking away that character's representation that's usually Japanese in anime. And it does the character no justice at all because people already know that character and is going to point out the obvious race swap. It was already established that that character was white or Asian or black or just simply dark-skinned from another country, which is why so many people like myself are so against it. Same goes with VTubing. If you can't find people that make dark VTubing models, rather than demand and address the problem, go out of your way to make black models. Now, I'm not saying that specifically Toledo or even Evan in this case are demanding that black representation or black models need to be made, but they're definitely doing a shit job trying to address it and work towards a solution. They would rather just sit on their asses and complain about how there's no VTuber models or representation for black people and are expecting other people to do it for them. And I especially don't understand why so many people keep looking at these fucking foreign companies and agencies and demand them for making shit more comfortable for them, when there's so much shit here in America that they can focus on. And despite there being many black characters and representation that I proved were there, they'll just simply say it's not enough. Like, what do you guys want? It's almost as if you guys are never happy with what's given to you. Shit with blackwashing characters, calling anything you deem racist, and if you don't have a specific set of characteristics, you're simply not black. Like, what are you guys trying to say? I'm sorry for sounding like a broken record, but it just comes off as what I keep reiterating, that black people simply just want to have their cake and eat it too. Especially with what I just mentioned, it pretty much just seems that black people want you to follow a specific set of imaginary rules when it comes to anything revolving around black people, but, you know, black people can ignore those rules that they put for everyone else, just not themselves because... Okay, I know you guys are probably sick and tired of me showing you guys the screen, but guys, is there really anything else other than this? Seriously, it's quite honestly what it just boils down to. If black people are completely fine with what I just mentioned while looking for every justification to prove why what they're saying and doing is fine and isn't borderline racism, then I don't know why they want change when they scream racism every which way for people and artists simply trying to have fun and isn't hurting anybody. As I said around the halfway point in this video, shit isn't gonna change unless people, especially black people, appreciate black or dark-skinned characters and or black VTubing models from being used regardless of skin color. Who fucking cares if the black VTuber is played by a white person? Because I thought you guys wanted black VTubing models to be made. And as for the other shit in Toledo's video, stop giving trolls attention and stop screaming racism when people make edgy jokes, when you guys do it yourselves towards people you disagree with. And as much as I can voice my solutions to combat all of this shit, this is just going to fall on deaf ears because these are the same groups of people calling me a coon for simply playing by their own rules and pointing out their own hypocrisy. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if people saw the thumbnail of this video and instantly called me a coon down in the comments. But for the couple of people that made it this far, you probably think I'm a douchebag, an unfunny asshole, and just generally don't like how I troll people. But you guys need to have this understanding, is that with the shit that I covered in this video, you guys seriously need to stop screaming racism when someone cosplays or VTubes as a character that's darker than them, and stop screaming racism when people say shit either as jokes or by accident, because people aren't going to take you seriously at that point, which only gives people more of a reason to fuck with you. Now, am I saying that all cases out there are in good faith? No, but if you see someone being racist to you, and I mean genuinely being racist, ignore them, block them, do anything in your power to not give them attention, because that's what they want. Do you guys seriously think trolls being featured in a retarded, hypocritical video about black VTubers seriously gives a shit about being called out? Are you guys serious? And for those who can't find darker black VTubing models, or hate how there's no representation for black VTubers on the corporate side, focus on shit here in America. Obviously, Japanese agencies are going to hire other Japanese people for a Japanese audience. It's like, guys, come on, use your heads. Find VTuber models and artists that draw black VTubers, and if you can't, especially if you're an artist, make some shit yourself and make dark characters. And as for representation, Sting Yurimeshi, a person that made a very good video about this very topic that you guys should seriously check out, put it simply.
Yes, we do have enough black representation. You guys just don't want to support it.
I don't know what his opinions are for when it comes to VTubing, but I have the same exact sentiment. Promote yourselves as artists making dark characters for everybody, not just one skin color. But if you don't want to do that because it's too hard, or you don't want to put in the work in yourself, and will just sit on your ass and complain about how no one is doing black VTuber models, then quit your bitching, because you obviously don't care if you can't put in any type of effort in to make changes yourself. Okay. I think I'm done screaming into my microphone in this video. Sorry for basically lying to you all about this being 15 to 20 minutes in the beginning, but unfortunately I had a lot to talk about in this one. So, without wasting any more of your guys' time, with all that said, hope you guys enjoyed watching me rant for about an hour, and Toledo, if you made it this far into this part of the video, all I wanted to say is, please jump off of a building, you overly sensitive, hypocritical douchebag.